Okay, folks, welcome back. How are we doing? Did you guys have fun this morning? Right? You enjoying yourself so far? So let's see if we can take the principle from the previous exercise and build on it a little bit. Who would like to come up and have a really fun trance? Just go ahead and raise your digital hand, please. All right, let's take David for this one. Hey, David, how are you doing?
Well, you did say really fun, and that's my
your
shtick.
jam?
So that's my jam.
So let's
We
see.
be jamming.
Let's see how much fun we can really have with this then. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, if it's possible, can you move your camera back a little bit so I can see more of your whole things? I just want to see kind of your lap area up to your head, so we can see a little bit further, just a little bit further down. So I can just see the top of your lap. If it's possible to do about half an inch lower, that'd be perfect. There we go. You go. That's
Hey,
perfect.
Mr. Perfect. Yeah, okay.
That's absolutely perfect. Perfect, right? So, can you please rest your hands on your lap so lightly that they barely seem to be touching it? And then I'd like you to consider about all the ways that you can have fun at an unconscious level that is actually surprising to you, right? So as the unconscious mind is already starting to prepare a particularly fun way of making a personal change that actually has meaning beyond the fun, you might notice that one of those hands seems more relevant in terms of this idea of having fun. Which of those hands do you think you'd like to pick up right now?
It's my left hand, kind of a surprise.
Your left hand is already lifting, so we might as well go with that. And I don't know how quickly that left hand wants to reach up towards your face. All I know is your breathing has already shifted dramatically, showing the comfort and rhythm of a good hypnotic subject as they go into trance. And of course, that hand can go up towards your face at an appropriate speed for you to develop something that is tremendous fun. That's right. And your eyes are already blinking, possibly getting tired. And I'd like you to keep them as open as long as you consciously can, because at some point, they'll just tell you, no way, I'm closing. And I want you to have a lot of fun with how much you can fight your eyes until they just take over and close all the way in comfort. But you can really hold on, because the longer you hold on and that blinking rate just continues to want to close, the more fun you'll have when they finally do close. And the only question really is, that's right, how quickly will that hand touch your face? Because your unconscious mind is reviewing all the meaningful things that fun is attached to. So not only can you really enjoy this experience, but you can enjoy it in a way that can alter your personality in a delightful way that fits into your life as a complete totality. And when the hand touches your face, that level of fun can be something that is not only experienced here and now, but then and there as well. And you don't need to know when there is and when then is. All you need to know is that when the hand touches your face, it feels really good. And your hand can rest in your face for a while once it touches. As some new learning begins to develop, that hand can drift back to your lap only as slowly as your right hand begins to lift. Because now that you've activated that part of you that has fun, it's important that you plug that fun into something meaningful to you, like your plans, your dreams, and your desires. Because your plans and your dreams and your desires are so much easier to achieve when you're having fun. So that right hand comes up towards your face, the left hand can return towards your lap. Because the left hand is releasing all the obstacles to having fun whilst achieving your dreams, as your right hand can continue to build fun into the experiences, the actual behaviors that let you draw closer towards your dreams. And that's where fun really belongs, in the process of achievement. And your unconscious mind can work anything out. You can discover how the right arm lifts as the left hand lowers, but do so in a slow and thorough manner, because you might as well slow down time when you're having fun. So you can really enjoy and appreciate each fun-filled step towards achieving what you desire in life, what you dream of, what really make you happy. And I don't know if your left hand will touch your face at the same time as your right hand touches your lap, or if one hand will reach first, because it could be that your fun connects with you before you released all the obstacles, or maybe the obstacles release before the fun really connects to your behaviors. All that I know is, that's right, that there's one more thing for your hands to do. As they reverse direction one more time, your unconscious mind can now reorganize your personality in the background to make it easy to have fun in unexpected places. So your left hand can let go of your old identities, old beliefs, old ways of perceiving or being in the world, as your right hand begins to experiment with new identities. And the right hand can return to your lap only as slowly as you release the old, allowing room for the left to lift you up with the new. And at the heart of it all is you, your fun. And as your arms lift and lower in turn, your whole personality can organize around this concept of fun. I have no idea how your unconscious mind will allow you to enjoy the behaviors that will draw you towards your dreams in fun-filled ways. All I know is that your personality can change in fun and delightful ways. And I don't know how much you'll laugh when you'll discover all the old ways that are just no longer troubling you. You can laugh at the old way of being and realize how silly it was to let things like that hold you back. But above all else, you can laugh at how that left hand brings joy and laughter and fun into your life. That's right. And you can already feel it, can you not? Now, I don't know if you'll actually burst out laughing when the left hand touches your face, signifying your connection to that fun spirit, or when your right hand touches your lap, finally letting go of all those silly traits that are holding you back. All I know is you get to discover at what point you get to laugh out loud. There you go. And really enjoy that. Let it build as strong as it needs to. And that left hand can finally return back to your lap as it builds and builds and builds that laughter. And as you build that laughter, look at all the constraints, all the fears, all the concerns that you've had that have kept you from your dreams, and just laugh at them. Really laugh with them. Because your whole personality is now organizing itself around a fun way of achieving this. And when a hand touches your lap for the end, you can come out of trance with a real peaceful, but a fun, peaceful feeling. And I don't know if you'll open your eyes with a laugh or just a sense of contentment.
Or both.
Or a bit of both. Nothing prevents you from having everything. So how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm very well. Was that fun?
That was very fun. And Yeah, I've never been a big laugh out loud guy, so the laughter you got from me is my normal. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was
Yeah.
great.
Excellent. Anything you want to say? Anything else?
It was just certain interesting spots when you said certain things. It was like, just images flashing. You said, right hand comes down and the barriers are broken. It was almost like just for a split second, there was like a wall in front of me that just crumbled and fell down.
Nice. Beautiful symbolism. Yeah. Excellent. Anything else?
Well, it's just the old, I really feel like, positive changes have been made, but I have no idea how they're going to
Right.
manifest themselves. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like, it's going
So,
to be
so
interesting to
this
see.
is exactly, this is where you get to enjoy life with curiosity to find out how is this showing up in your behaviors, right? It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, but somewhere you'll spot behaviors that were unusual in the past, and that happens.
So be careful, people. If you work with me, you might have fun. We can't have that now, can we?
Yeah, whoever's going to work with you next is in for a roller coaster ride.
Oh, brace for impact, kids.
Before,
Come on, keep your safety bar down and locked in place while David's in motion.
yeah, I believe it. Before we release you into the wilderness, would you mind answering a few questions if anyone has a question about your experience? Is that okay?
I'd be happy. I'm gonna get a little closer with the
Yeah,
laptop.
yes. Please bring it back up again. Yes.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, please raise your digital hand, and then you can kind of have a chat with David directly if you're curious. If not,
And I'll mock you and make fun of you. Yeah.
Exactly. And if not, we'll just talk about the method directly. But if you are curious, then now's the time to have a quick chat. So we'll have 3, 2, 1. All right, so we'll go straight into the method. So what are we going to do here? Number one, we're going to set up the conditions for this to work. In this case, David, you were already actually succeeding in the more difficult version of this before I was getting ready to complete the method. So what I normally want is have both hands start off on the lap. And here's the key, so lightly that you barely notice they're touching. Why? This creates catalepsy. As soon as you have catalepsy, arm levitation is easy, right? So it creates conditions for it. In physical presence, I normally do a ambiguous touch, but I can't physically do that through the internet, so we'll do that instead. Then, this is how I recommend you guys do it. I'd have you pick one hand up and just look at it. So you have one hand up, cataleptic, one hand down, also cataleptic, but staring at the hand that's up. So we're doing essentially the reverse arm levitation from earlier with this hand, which then takes the attention away from the other hand, giving it some more freedom to move. Are you with me so far?
Yep.
Next, we're going to essentially create these generally specific statements. Again, just like the arm levitation, look at the hand, inducing the trance through what they're observing, what they're seeing, color changes, focus changes, lines crossing, their eyes wanting to close. As you can see sort of eye closure, then of course allow it to happen, right? I'll come to in a second about catalepsy then, if I may, right? But as soon as you start seeing signs of trance happening, breathing changing, relaxation happening, focus intensifying, and so on, I want you to start to make suggestions about what the unconscious mind is doing in the background, right? In this case, we started with the concept of fun, so fun it was, right? Otherwise, I just go with something generic like comfort, right? Just have them discover a sense of comfort. That's a pretty good place to make personal changes from, because it's comfortable, right? So then we have the idea of one hand comes down as comfort increases, and the other hand, this is the seesaw, starts coming up at the same rate and pace, so that your unconscious mind can review comfort and bring you comfort at that rate and pace, right? Then maybe their eyes are closed, maybe they're not. At the very least, I'd say have them close their eyes by the time the second hand touches the face, right? So the hand that used to be down touches the face. If it does beforehand, that's fine. And then we'll do our second round. In the second round, we're going to make the comfort do something valuable. If you don't know what to do, then the easy thing is get them to learn deeply from this experience, something about hypnosis, right? So learn to be a good hypnotic subject and learn to be a great hypnotist, right? So as one hand comes down, I like to have that a metaphor for releasing, let go of anything that prevents you from being a good hypnotist and a good hypnotic subject. As the other hand comes up, you can increase your comfort, which increases your comfort at doing hypnosis. So just link the two together, right? So you have one round done. And then for the next round, have them respond in ways that are useful to them to link this idea to their dreams, their plans, you know, and their desires, right? So as one hand comes down, again, releases obstacles to dreams, plans, and desires, and the other hand builds more comfort into being drawn naturally, automatically towards their dreams and desires. So you engage in behaviors naturally. Final round, let them change their personality in satisfying ways, right? When you've got the final round done, then just let the one hand relax and the other hand come down as quickly as the unconscious mind can make all this real and show up in your behaviors over the coming days and weeks, right? So really, it's just seesawing. Each seesaw gives them some quality. First, it's comfort. Then it's learning about something deeply. If they have something they want to talk about, great. If not, then make it about hypnosis in general, right? Then link that towards dreams and hopes and ambitions. And then finally have them have some alterations, some pleasing alterations in their personality to make it all come true, integrate it all, bring them back, and find out how they're doing. Easy?
Yeah,
Any questions,
sure.
David? Any questions for me?
No, I just, you know, it seemed like
go ahead.
just the way it's outlined, you know, I didn't start with a hand up and, you know,
No,
but
so exactly. You actually, because you already had an arm levitation starting before I could get you to do that. Then I thought, well, I'll just go with it. Why would I resist from you already succeeding with something when you're already succeeding with it? Just go with it.
I was in the advanced class, yeah.
You're in the advanced class, exactly. So yes, any other questions or anything? Or that's pretty straightforward otherwise, right? It's just basically one hand comes up, one hand comes down, make those suggestions, make sure that goes as slowly so people don't start rushing it. And then you're basically just making observations about how the hand is moving, what they can observe about that, and then suggest that the unconscious mind is doing things in the background, which are related to initially comfort, then about learning, then about linking that comfort and those learnings to achieving their dreams, and then finally reorganizing their personality so that it naturally shows up in their behavior. Straightforward, right? Now, Nate is asking, what is catalepsy? Do you have a definition for us, David?
Catalepsy, well, I mean, I trying to put it in words what I know. No, it's letting your just, I mean, and Jonathan put it pretty nicely here. Just, you know, your unconscious mind takes control of your limb instead of consciously moving, letting it be under unconscious control.
So technically, catalepsy happens when the agonist and antagonist muscles, the opposing muscles, are equally tense. It's not tense, but they're just kind of arresting movement, exactly as Carl's putting it there. They're arresting movement by engaging simultaneously, right? And it has a weird feeling of floating when that happens. When your hands have this double light tension, shall we say, first of all, it feels quite pleasant, but second of all, it becomes very more immobile, very rigid like this. And that sets the conditions up for a natural arm levitation to occur. Then you can suggest for it to lift or get lighter and lift. And then naturally, there you go, this sort of stuff starts happening naturally from the result of that, especially with the idea of suggestion. So you just suggest that the hand wants to lift and touch the face, as the other hand wants to lower and touch the lap. And as long as they stay cataleptic like this, the hand will naturally move much more easily. Free movement returns to my hand. Nate, if you have a follow-up to that, please feel free to come up. David, are we good?
We are very good.
Let's release David to the wilderness. If anyone has any questions, so isometric muscle contraction, that's the exact term for it. Thank you, Patrick. Nate, if you have a follow-up, please feel free to ask it. Otherwise, if anyone else has a follow-up, please feel free to ask it now. Is the exercise pretty straightforward? Yes? Thumbs up, right? Yeah, look, don't sweat it too much. Don't overthink it. You're literally just having the unconscious mind do one activity as the hands go up and down, right? So comfort, learn something, apply to your dreams, make nice changes in your personality. Done. Right? Comfort, learn something, make some nice changes, so attach to your dreams, and let your personality change to make adjustments, and then integrate it all. right? Is really that simple. Comfort, notice say change sides now. Oh my goodness, I'm getting comfort from all sides now. Learn something, apply to your dreams or hopes, and then allow your personality to change so that it becomes natural, and then integrate it and bring it out. Simple, right? So just focus. And by the way, the difficult part you already did in the last exercise, right? It was getting the hand to do movement. That was the hard part, right? Now you just have to talk generally about the specific experience of the hands moving, and talk about comfort, about learning something deeply, about how the unconscious mind is learning, linking those learnings and that comfort to their dreams, and how it can now change their personality so that it's just natural to do the behaviors required. And of course, they can be delighted by that. Easy? Let's take $15 minutes each, but give them 50 minutes in total. So we've got a bit extra slush time so that there's no rush on this. Really, there's zero rush. There's zero pressure on this, right? Give yourself time. And honestly, once you've established them looking at that hand and getting a little spaced out, and the other hand is resting so lightly on the lap so that they can't, that they're barely touching it, the conditions for this to work are pretty much 99% set. All good?
Can you confirm, did you say 50 total?
Yes, because it's three lots of 50 minutes, that's 45, plus
40.
an extra 5, plus
Okay.
an extra 5 minutes just so that they don't feel rushed.
Okay.
All right. Take us away. What are you doing? As we're waiting for the rooms to empty out, please go ahead and start typing up your experiences here. All right, folks. If you're back, please go ahead and start typing up some experiences. And I think we're all back now. So welcome back, everyone. How are you guys doing? Did you have fun? Was that interesting? Awesome. Yay. That's good. Amazing. Fun. All right. Any questions so far? Any questions about this? Test session for me yet for Tom. Excellent. Asa forgot he was on the course. At first, challenging a bit at first to keep track of both hands. That's fair enough. It's got to be getting hard not to go into a trance. That's a good idea. I like it. Learning, check the client for difficulties with the hands. Yes, that's a very good idea. I felt Evelyn once got into it. The feedback afterwards is very enlightening. Yes, that's a very helpful time to do. Training partners are very skilled, very positive. Excellent. So any question for me at this point? Who here is noticing that this stuff gets easier the less you think about it? Anyone starting to notice this? Right? We, of course, need to have a kind of a broad picture idea of what we're doing, right? We can, how do we set up this condition? That's one big picture idea, right? Then when the hands are moving, what do we say? Comfort, learn something, apply to your dreams, change, allow that change to enter your personality, right? It's a sort of general overview. But the rest works best when you just kind of just go with it as you go along. Does that make sense to you guys? So if there's any questions about that as a method, we'll talk about it now. It's a good time to come up. Otherwise, I think we're ready for a slightly early lunch because you guys have done some good work. Let it just hang out there for a sec. All right, in that case, oh, David, you just snuck that one in. I like it. Let's bring David forward. Perfect timing. Now my lip reading skills are weak, hence you may want to unmute yourself.
I may, you may not want me to though. Just more of a comment and what you would say about it is,
Mhm.
for me, it's a growing fascination of how little you need to know about the specifics for a client to help them make positive generative change
Yes.
without, embarrassing them by talking about
Yes.
any specific subject.
Yes.
Is it wise to use this type technique, with specific knowledge, with specific application towards a very specific, issue that they've told you about? Or
Yeah.
is this more of the ninja skill that, your unconscious knows, so it's going to process this
So,
exactly the way
so,
it's right for
so,
you?
so the first answer is yes. It's all wise. But more importantly, look, there's trade-offs. There's always risks and there's always bonuses. There's risks to talking about stuff. There's advantages to talking about stuff. There's risks to doing COVID therapy. There's advantages to doing COVID therapy. And we'll actually be doing a little bit of more formalized COVID therapy later on today, right? In this case, with really skill building. So it's the safest is to let the unconscious mind make those decisions and then surprise the conscious mind with actual behaviors that reflect the changes that have been made. That's just a nice way of doing it. It's not such an easy way to run a hypnotherapy practice because people typically come to you to solve a problem, not to say like, just make me better, right? It'd be cool if the client's going to come in and say, look, I'm going to pay you for a year. I'm going to come in every week. I really don't have any problems, but just make me better, okay?
That's
Do
right.
whatever you want.
Go all
I mean,
Emile Coué on me just every day.
Yeah,
Better
right.
and better and better. Yeah.
Precisely. So that'd be pretty cool if that happens, but it rarely does. I mean, I guess you could specifically market towards that, which would be pretty epic, right? So there are some hybrids. If you like, and if there's a little bit extra time this evening, I'll show you how to do a hybrid about talking. How can you talk about the problem without ever talking about the problem and get all the benefits of talking about a problem without any of the disadvantages of talking about a problem, and then still do covert secret therapy, right? If we don't have time, we'll just do the COVID secret therapy part, which works as well. Basically, it's a variation on what we've already done. But there's a way of priming the work for success. And to get to that, we'll get through they'll be for the final session this evening. So if we can kind of go relatively quickly through the afternoon session, that'll give us an extra 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We'll be able to extend the final session a little bit that way and build that extra bit in. It'll be pretty cool. I think that'd be a good way of answering that question.
That seems pretty cool.
Other than that, downside of talking about the problem is you depress people and now they go in that depressed state. And then, it's a lot harder to find the resources, right? Yeah. And then whether it's depressing them or embarrassing them or whatever it is, it might be the same thing. There are ways of talking about a problem, however, that actually elevates them, but can take a little bit more work, right? Downside of not discussing anything at all is you've got no way of testing your work. I mean, you've got to do a lot of faith, right? This is where being very observant helps because you have to be able to see them shift through things. You have to actually see them activate the problem. You have to see them releasing the problem. And then maybe at the end, interview them more indirectly about what's going on. So it's not as easy to do COVID therapy in an everyday session. Where would fit the picture is if you're already working with the client on other things, and then they come in one day and they look at this as something I don't really necessarily want to talk about it. I don't even know how to talk about it. And you say, great, we'd like to do some content-free work on that. I go, well, that's possible. We go, sure, give it a go, right? Or if you're working with friends and family, you can offer them that, right? Because then again, you don't change your perspective of them, which is a big concern in friends and family. I mean, you don't want your mother telling you about all kinds of crazy crap that happened to her in her childhood. It makes the relationship a bit more awkward, if that makes sense, right? But if you do it in content-free work, then you have to spend more attention paying attention so you can see things are happening. And you have to be really careful to ground your work. It's very easy to just go into this abstract, floaty, all these nice, abstract terms. But you have to constantly bring them back to earth. You have to constantly ground them so that they can have a really impactful experience from it, right? And even then, you've got to leave the door open that they may need a round 2 to clean up anything that's not complete. We'll talk about cleanup techniques as well this afternoon to kind of show you how you might do that. Does that give you a satisfying answer for now?
Very much so. I appreciate it. I'll
Perfect.
sneak out of the way and let you handle SI here.
No worries. Bring an SI up, please. Thank you.
Igor, I need to speak to you privately in a breakout room urgently for just a minute and a half.
Sure. So we'll finish up in about a minute, and then you can have, I'll give you 3 minutes because I'm going to be so generous.
Great.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
All right. So then let's return SI back to the wilderness, but leave your hand up, SI, so that when we finish up here for lunch properly, we can pop straight into a breakout room and have that chat. Is that okay? Or at least Elizabeth, just keep a track on him. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, folks. So very quickly, the comments here. We use the magnets and balloon metaphors to get the arm levitations. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong at all, right? It doesn't hurt. It doesn't detract from the process. It can add to the process. So play with it. You don't need it, but there's no harm in doing it, right? So either way is better. I think it's my answer to that one. So with that happy thought, let's head off to lunch. It's now 5 minutes to the hour.